say anything you wouldn't want your mom to hear. Hi, I'm Justin. I started the Roaring Fork Technologists. There's a bunch of us in here. We're a community group of volunteers, essentially, that want to support our community in any way we can. We do that by trying to educate the youth, trying to educate each other, and trying to support local business. A lot of the local business support manifests through things like supporting GlenX and Aspen entrepreneurs. So you can imagine in a valley like this, one of the biggest challenges we have is economic diversity, right? There's a lot of people that want to live here, and it's not always easy to find the jobs that we need and want. So our groups collectively are working together to try to create that reality. We want a future where we can have more hands-on control of the jobs in our valley, so we can make this home. So another part of what we do is every month we have meetups, and every quarter we have speaking events. Today we have Kevin from Denver who's going to talk a lot more about blockchain and what it's like to build a startup and GitCoin. But before that, we have a couple other real quick speakers. Aspen entrepreneurs. Dave, you're in here somewhere, right?
He was just in here.
We lost Dave. Altai's going to say a word about GlenX. Tyler, I think, is going to say a word or two. But I want to go through a quick thing we do with every one of our meetups. So, for those of you who don't know, these communities we're trying to build live off the give first ethos. The idea there is we come to the community with the clear intention of giving before expecting anything in return. And through this, we create a very supportive environment where we can help each other succeed in life. I've seen this work in a business context and spread to a personal context as well. I'm going to run through a couple items on the list. Jobs in the valley. Does anyone know about jobs being available right now? Dan?
What jobs are available?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking for a vocational manager, someone to connect folks with intellectually and developmentally disabled people with jobs.
Bam. For a while, School Blocks was hiring. Does anyone know if School Blocks is still hiring?
Fastgate's hiring.
Bam.
We're looking for delivery manager, so entry-level position, math background. So,
Delivery manager?
delivery manager.
Sounds like UPS. I know before Marcus was interested in finding some part-time designers and WordPress developers. Right? I actually did some research for you on that one, and I don't think I got to you because you were out rafting for a week. So we should talk after.
Okay.
Dave, you know of any other jobs in the valley? People looking to fill positions?
Thanks for putting me on the spot.
Yeah.
Always happy to talk to people who are looking, especially in tech.
Yeah. Dave's great. Just talk to him.
That's hiring. I just trying to figure out for what.
Gotcha. We also we have a website, roaringforktechnologists.com. We just built a little embed for mountaincareers.com. There's not a lot of jobs on mountaincareers.com, but Aaron built this little startup out of Vail. Supporter, if you have a company that's looking to hire, I highly suggest posting on there. That comes back to us.
I do know that Blue Tent is hiring locally.
Developers or all kinds? Email and SEO? Sweet. So there are jobs here. Yep.
There's an orchestra healthcare technology company that's in Carbondale that's hiring for payroll person.
Okay. Excellent. New jobs all the time. The point is, there are jobs here. There is work here. But we want to create more of that. Checking that off my list. Events. GopherCon. Did that happen yet?
No, it's in August.
Okay. GopherCon, which is a programming language in Go, in Denver. Dinosaur.js, I think, did happen, which is a JavaScript conference in Denver. Denver Startup Week is going to be in September. Dave, you know.
Third week of September, yeah.
Third week of September. I'm going to go for sure. I'm committing if you want to bunk together. Anyone else have conferences, events that are happening? You want to share?
Aspen Entrepreneurs is doing next Tuesday at the new nightclub in Aspen called the Grotto, who is actually some Aspen Entrepreneurs alum. business. So we have the head of Canopy Accelerator, which does campus tech companies out of Boulder, as well as Sheriff Joe DeSalvo, who many of you know. And then, interestingly, a former bartender at the J Bar who had a great idea for high-def screens for advertising and point of sale and more in dispensaries. And he just wrote it down on a napkin while he was working at the J Bar. I told him I recommended that he apply to the accelerator. He got in and he raised $200,000, working towards 750. So he'll be on the panel as well. So I think that's 6:30 at the Grotto on Tuesday. It's on the AskEntrepreneurs.com site.
That's this coming Tuesday?
This coming Tuesday.
So that ties into like our next meetup, which is supposed to be next Tuesday, which I was going to propose we actually not do it. But just because we have this event and we have Brad Feld coming next month. So our next quarterly meetup, we kind of squished things together a little bit. But Brad Feld, we're partnering with Aspen Entrepreneurs, probably doing a Basalt, it sounds like. If you don't know who Brad Feld is, he's one of the essential forces behind the startup community. Came out of Boulder. This is definitely a great event to go to if you have any interest at all in starting businesses or working around the startup community. Look at Aspen Entrepreneurs website or roaringforktechnologists.com, and we'll post things on Facebook and stuff like that. Join our Facebook group if you're into that. We also have a Slack channel and kind of an email list. This is all unpaid. So next meetup. This is a Give First community, but we need to know who needs help in order to help people. So we can't go around the room right now like we normally do, but I would urge anyone in here who feels like they need help in any form or fashion. If you're looking for a job, if you have a problem with some coding routine or some sort of technical or non-technical thing, ask someone next to you. Like the whole point of this community is to help each other and make a stronger Carbondale, a stronger Roaring Fork. Really nice thing that happened over the last couple weeks, Proximity, which is a startup out of, well, Montrose and Grand Junction, I think Ridgeway. They build co-working like locks, automated locks and software. They contacted me because they want to use us as guinea pigs for the software they just released, which essentially could replace, Marcus, you're going to love this, which could replace Facebook for how we use it. The idea is to build a digital local Rolodex so we can all know each other better and find the people and the skills that we need to do the things we need to do. So we have a demo instance of this stood up. It's like rft.proximity.com or something like that. I'll try to post about it on Facebook. Feel free to jump on, sign up, create a profile for yourself. If you have a business, create a business. The only way we can test this is if we all use it. So, and it's being given to us. So this is great. Similarly, I got contacted by some people in Breckenridge. Summit County wants to partner with the Roaring Fork Technologists because they're having a hard time building their tech communities. So I said it wouldn't be long-winded. There's a lot of things. So a lot of these rural communities, there's over 250 co-working spaces across rural America right now and growing rapidly. All these communities are trying to figure out a way to be successful, to be prosperous, and to work together. And one thing's for sure, that working together is critical to the success of a small community, especially the smaller community that don't have the resources of Aspen. So a lot of folks out of Summit County want to start working with us in some form or fashion. Again, Give First ethos. When they asked for help, I said definitely. If anyone has any interest in going there, doing talks, bringing people here to do talks, just meeting people, doing screen shares, let's do it. Let's just make it happen. We're already doing that with some other co-working spaces around Puget Sound. That is my list. So I think we'll go in order: Aspen Entrepreneurs, Glenn X, Tyler, and then I'll jump back on and introduce our speaker, Kevin. Does that sound good?
Yep.
Go.
I'm just going to be super brief. My name's Dave Mayer. I'm just a community builder. I just really want to give a shout out to Justin and some of these other folks that are here of their own volition, giving up themselves because they want to see a better Roaring Fork Valley for the next 20 years. we believe that entrepreneurship and innovation are a critical component to that. We brought in the governor's office a couple weeks ago, and it was amazing to have every single one of the communities from Glenwood to Aspen represented, and talking about what it meant to work together. And that everybody in the room raised their hand to say they understood that the next 20 years we would be better off working together rather than as individual units. And so that was really an important start for us. We're actually getting back together with the governor's office. I'm going to be helping to facilitate the Aspen Chamber and hopefully some others in terms of a SWOT analysis, just what's good and bad about each of the different municipalities, how can we help each other, and then we're getting back together in September. And GlenX is obviously critical to what's going on here to create this critical mass. And I'm just grateful to be part of this community. I'm just truly just a servant here. Kevin and I know each other from the Boulder startup community. Grateful to have him here. And truly, everybody in this room is welcome to give advice, to give ideas. We have no true expectations of what this community can or should be, other than we all know we can be better together. And so, if you're not on the newsletter for Aspen Entrepreneurs, just check out aspenentrepreneurs.com. Come to our event next Tuesday. We're always welcome. New folks, new ideas, and just thank you. I don't know who was next.
Alan?
What's that? Oh, there we
So,
go.
I'll give a couple of updates. Some of you may know that we're going after this grant with the Rockefeller Foundation Chance Zuckerberg Initiative. So it's regardless of if we get this, it's a big grant, but it's going to be a game changer if we do. So regardless of if we get it, we're still going after the plan of basically the blueprint that we've given them for how we can help build a model that can scale to other rural communities. I think thus far in the past 4 years, we've done a lot just with helping small communities. We're now serving Aspen, the Parachute, and 9 public high schools with the career expos and entrepreneurial programs at the high schools, with the test with as a co-working space, our beta launch at the Thursday Center, and expanding into this space coming soon with partnership with Tyler. But this model, so I hope you guys get excited and jazzed about this. Like what we're doing here in Carbondale is going to set precedents for how we can help small communities across the country, possibly across the world. And again, regardless of if we get this grant, there's already things in motion for some of the projects going forward. For example, the real estate fund, my sister, Michelle, she's going to be heading up that fund. We've got a lot of investors that are lining up to be involved in it. So we're going to start with a modest $10 million fund for the real estate. There's down the pipeline, we definitely want to move forward with having a crowdfunding platform for business that go through our programs, and also other business that we bring here. Last week was very interesting being at the Ideas Festival. I met some of the individuals that are some of the key players in the tech world in the US. One of the big companies that we're trying to bring here out of Kansas, I can't say too much about it right now, but they're basically wanting to redefine internet, the internet 2.0. And the lead investor from Google, who I met last week at the Ideas Festival, he's interested. We're going to try to connect them together to bring that business here. And this would be outstanding. This means a lot of high-end tech jobs here in Carbondale. So just wanted to let you know, there are some of the things in the works that are very exciting. And this will be the start of something beautiful, I think, for this partnership in the space, and also for what Carbondale can represent for how we innovate change for our small communities everywhere. So, just want to say that point, and I think this is very exciting for what going back to the original model of what we wanted to do, as far as the space that we do have options for. We can have with the co-working, the offices, possibly with the shared retail, etc. And I want to definitely give the time to our new partner, Tyler Mobius, in this venture. He's a local businessman, also well-respected leader among business people here. And And I'm very looking forward to working with him in this venture. And so I definitely want to give him time to express his vision of what this could mean working on this. Howard, you want to say a few words?
Thank you. I'll keep it brief. We're just, my wife, Oriana, and I, and our 4 children that are here are just super honored to be a part of this movement that's taking place here in Carbondale. Our kids are 4th generation from this valley, so born and raised in Redstone, and so to have the opportunity to be able to offer this space, which is what we're doing, to really seed these ideas and to bring about this community is a real honor. And it's something that I wholeheartedly believe in terms of not only making technology accessible so that people can understand its beauty and how it can be used, but then also bringing the technologists and the engineers to this valley. Because I think in this day and age and where we're going, to be connected to the earth and to be connected to this valley and to feel that, they'll bring that innovation and the new ideas to be able to preserve areas like this ultimately as we evolve. And so I'm a big believer in conscious capitalism and believe that having a strong core here on Main Street is essential, and to have a physical space on Main Street that we can sort of use as a beacon for people to bring their ideas, to collaborate, to be creative, to solve the world's problems is an awesome opportunity. I'm really excited to be a part of it. So thank you.
That couldn't have been a more perfect transition, I think, to what Kevin does. So I don't know Kevin personally, but we found each other through the digital sphere, and right away was connected with what he does. So in my career, I've worked with and built open source software for nearly a decade. And for those of you who don't know, the world as we know it is built on open source free software. And as Dave was teaching me about the Git First ethos, I realized, holy hell, I've been doing this for a long time through open source technology. I just didn't have the dialogue. And but what Kevin's going to talk about is how he's trying to take innovative technology like blockchain and technology in general to try to link dollars to work that needs to be done in open source. And the reason why this is relevant to what Tyler just said is because one day this might provide a source of revenue, whether it's side or full-time work, for us to work on open source projects in this manner. I think it's a brilliant idea. I think that from my seat, it seems like you're getting traction and things are happening. But without any further ado, Kevin, Owocki.
Thanks for the intro, Justin. I couldn't agree more with what you all said about the community up here. I've been involved as a community organizer in the Boulder scene, and as Dave mentioned, I know Dave through the Boulder scene, being a Boulder startup league organizer, and there's something special about when you build a commons together as a community and support the community in a Git First ethos. So excited to come up here and get a fresh breath of mountain air and learn about the community up here. And I've been pulling. My wife's a beach person, I'm a mountain person. I've been pulling for retiring in the mountains, so it's good to explore up here and to know that there's technology jobs and a good tech scene up here. So I'm here to talk about blockchain, which is sort of a loaded word. I think that's the understatement probably of the night. Who all has heard of Bitcoin or blockchain? Okay, what have you guys heard? It's a new currency. Oh, sorry, one at a time. Oh yeah, it's volatile, yeah.
Distributed.
Each coin has included within it a whole entire chain's history of transactions, and therefore it's its own currency that doesn't need an external regulator.
Right, exactly.
So blockchain is evidently the secret to secure elections in a democracy.
Mhm. Yeah, because blockchain is tamper-proof, a lot of people are excited about having doing voting during with the blockchain. There's some proof of concepts I've heard about across the world. Anything else you all have heard?
Some fans are claiming that accounting and bookkeeping is going to go away if blockchain took over.
Yeah.
It's kind of a movement back to the original internet, which is decentralization.
Yeah,
Versus everything going through Facebook, Google, or Amazon.
Yeah, decentralization as an organizing principle.
Huge
Okay.
game changer, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not dependent on any government. It's outside of the government realm, and
Yeah.
it has a lot of financial implications as far as technology, as far as transactions. So, to give you an example, like commercial real estate, it takes weeks typically to get a deal done, where you can get it done in an afternoon and have basically everybody sign off on something like that.
Right. Yeah, that's definitely a use case. And I think someone brought up that it's currency that's not backed by any government. And I think that that's something that a lot of people in blockchain are really excited about, because it means that if you're in a jurisdiction where police asset seizures are a problem, or if you're in the third world where you can't trust the authorities not to take your assets, then people are excited about it for that reason. So I'm going to try to take an expansive view of blockchain in my presentation, and then I'm going to drill down into my specific use case for blockchain, which is my project GitCoin, which I started in the Boulder Valley this time last year, and then going to drill out and talk about what this new internet that everyone's really excited about might look like. And so I think that we'll probably aim to spend about a half hour and then just break into discussion, because there's a lot of different tangents that we could go on. So I think Justin did an intro for me, but I'm Kevin Owocki. I have a degree in computer science from the University of Delaware in 2006. Moved out to Colorado because of Brad Feld and David Cohen, actually, to go through Techstars in 2008. And I just love the sunshine and the friendly people and sort of the ethos out here. Been working in the Boulder tech scene pretty much ever since I went through Techstars, and have been playing an engineering leadership role in those organizations. So blending product and community and technology to hopefully create a better world through the products I've been working on. And let's see, my agenda for tonight is I want to talk about where we've been, where the internet has been, and specifically what I've been doing in my career. We'll talk about where we are, and then where we're going. I think that blockchain's this complex n-dimensional space, and I'm just a visual thinker, so I like to lay it out visually in these three parts. And I want to start by framing my presentation by talking about this show. It's a historical fiction show on AMC called *Halt and Catch Fire*. Has anyone in the audience seen the show at all? Okay, one of us. I'm off to a good start. Basically what it is it's this dramatized version of a story about entrepreneurs in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, and starts with the IBM PC clone wars, back when IBM was the Goliath in the technology industry, and Compaq and all of those companies cloning the first IBM PC, and then goes into the early internet. So I was born in the 80s and I'm sort of a child of the 90s. I have fond memories of being on AOL back in the day, hanging out in AOL chat rooms, AIM, like the entrepreneurs that created that technology. And then it goes into the birth of the World Wide Web. There's this scene in season 4 in which all of these main characters are sitting around the table and they're saying, hypertext transfer protocol, what does it mean? What is it going to become? What will the web become? Now imagine yourself in 1994 asking this question about what the web is going to become. because it's so obvious to us in hindsight that Facebook would change the way that we keep in touch with everyone, and that Google search was going to come along and change the way we relate to the information that we gather. But back then, it was just mostly used by scientists for exchanging information. The internet didn't have very much coverage. And the question of what the web would become, would it be open or closed, would it be centralized or decentralized, is not so clear back then. And I think that when we talk about blockchain, that's sort of where we are right now. It's exciting for me as an entrepreneur to be like playing the game, being in the great game in the 1994 of the internet of money, because we're literally at the protocol level arguing about Ethereum or Bitcoin or all of these other technologies, and how are we going to build this open source financial system, and is it really open source? Who's in it for the ethos and who's in it just for the money? And I think that, you know, that's not to degrade the people who get into cryptocurrencies to make a profit. I think that providing for one's family is a noble pursuit, and you know, it's something that's obviously very important to anyone who has a career in the 21st century. I just think that when people just talk about the price of Bitcoin, that's just scratching the surface of what the internet of money could be. And my goal for this presentation tonight is to take you just one step deeper. Another way I like to frame this presentation when I'm talking about blockchain is with this parable that I read about three blind men who are trying to together conceive of what an elephant is. And remember, these blind men are blind, so they can only conceive of the elephant through touch. And as you can see on this slide right here, one of them is holding the tail and perceives that an elephant is a twig. One is holding the tusks and perceives that the elephant is something sharp like an arrow. And one of them is perceiving the leg and perceives that an elephant is like a tree trunk. And in some versions of this story, the men start to argue and even come to blows because they all have different conceptions of what the elephant is. And the analogy here for blockchain, and like I follow a lot of people on Twitter who just argue incessantly about lots of things, but more recently, because my interests are blockchain, they argue about blockchain. And I feel like I'm always perceiving this happening with people arguing about blockchain. Person X says Bitcoin is better. Person Y says that Ethereum is going to revolutionize the world. I have a friend who was going through airport security wearing a Bitcoin shirt the other day, and the TSA guard was telling him that he should buy Tron. I mean, I think that we've sort of gone mainstream in a way where everyone has an opinion, and my goal for this presentation is to help you get one step closer to grasping the entire conception of an elephant. What I think blockchain is the TCP IP of money. And so let me unpack that for everyone real quick. TCP IP is called Transmission Control Protocol and Internet Protocol. And what that is the ability to route information across the computer network without an intermediary. So you think before internet, if you needed to route information to around the world, then you had to build a distribution. Think like the New York Times is paper distribution if you wanted to route your information around the world. But because of the advent of internet, we can move information effortlessly around the world through this network of computers that we have called the internet. And I think that blockchain at its high level is the TCP IP of money. And what that means is that you can move value or money or scarcity across the world without an intermediary. So the role that's traditionally been played by banks as the trusted place where you can put your money, where you can put your life savings, is now just built into the core protocols of the internet. And so the obvious question that people start to ask when they think about blockchain is, well, I saw what Napster did to the record industry. Is blockchain going to do that to financial services industry? I think that's sort of like the question that's on the tip of everyone's tongue when it comes to blockchain. And I don't know the answer, and I don't know how it's going to evolve, just like how in 1994 no one knew what Facebook was going to be. But I do think that the comparison from Internet of Money to just the internet sort of frames for me how big the opportunity is if we were to potentially build an open source financial system. I also like this slide, which was created by, not by GitCoin, it's created by another blockchain project out of Colorado called Origin Protocol, and it sort of shows the evolution of open protocols over time. So on the x-axis, you can see time from left to right, and then on the y-axis, you can see the evolution of, the different layers of computer applications. So how many people in the audience are software developers? Okay, got it. About a quarter of us. So basically, you've got the hardware layer, you've got the network layer, data layer, and application layer, which is just basically different ways of peeling the onion of the internet. And the whole point of this story is that originally, a lot of these layers were proprietary, and as technology moves forward, open wins over closed. So I think I opened this presentation by talking about AOL, which was a proprietary way of exchanging information. I think I would go to keywords, AOL keyword games or something like that. And now I go to ESPN.com or to GitCoin.co in order to access my information. That's because the network layer of the application has been decentralized into an open protocol, and we just access it through a web browser instead of a proprietary internet access system. And what a lot of people think is going to happen with blockchain is that we're going to have this core data layer that's going to become open. The blockchain is basically a big, slow, decentralized database. And so what if your identity was stored on a blockchain and not on Facebook? If you were upset about Facebook getting hacked and giving a bunch of information to the Russians or to some advertising firm, then you could just take your social graph and bring it over to another application. But you can't do that with the legacy web, with Web 2.0, because Facebook owns your social graph and it's not transportable. You don't own the data in the web today. And that's one of the ways that blockchain wants to change things. I also I think this is another way to sort of slice the fruit. This is an article that my friend Josh Stark wrote, and this is just like a summary that I tweeted about it. So 3 trends for Web 3. We think that Web 3 is the original web was just anyone putting up a website. Web 2 was the read-write web, so you have Facebook and MySpace, so you can easily publish and write to the web. And Web 3 is this new blockchain-powered web that me and other technologists think that we're building. So first, money will become a native feature of the internet. So it's not just some bolt-on thing that where you build a bridge to your bank and you transfer money around via ACH or credit card, something that's native to the web. Decentralized applications will offer new users or new capabilities for users on top of that native feature of the internet. And the third, which I was just touching on, is that users will have more control over their digital identities and data. So I think this, for a lot of people who originally built the web, Brendan Eich, who's the founder of, the creator of JavaScript, has gone on record and he says that building cookies into the web was one of his biggest mistakes because it's allowed everyone to track us with whatever we're doing on the web. And so one of the things that people who are interested in decentralization are really excited about is giving users more control of their digital identities and data using the blockchain. So that's sort of like my macro view of blockchain, having been in the space, investing since 2011. And I like to say that I was smart enough to buy, but not smart enough to hold. And building things since 2015. So very briefly, built a cryptocurrency trading platform that uses artificial intelligence in 2015 called PyTrader, which never really made any money, but I open sourced it and found a lot of people on the web who were interested in working with me on that. I built something called AdBlock to Bitcoin in 2015, which was basically a JavaScript widget that you could put on your website. And if someone visited your website who had AdBlock, visited your website, it would replace what would have been in the ads before AdBlock with a QR code that solicited Bitcoin donations. So the idea is that publishers are losing a lot of money because of AdBlock. Why not give them a new way to monetize through cryptocurrency? I got written about in Wired magazine, but it turned out no one used it. So another project that went into the dustbin of my GitHub profile. 2016, started mining in my office and in my garage, and my wife, God bless God bless her, didn't divorce me after tripping the circuit breakers several times. I think each one of those used up about a kilowatt per hour of electricity, and so when my baby was born, I just decided it was too much of a risk to have in the house, so got rid of those. And the founder and the founding organizer of the Boulder BlockChain meetup, which has been a fun way to get to know other blockchain people in Boulder. One of the great things about Colorado is that you'll get Burning Man types and you'll get financial types coming to your meetup, and it's just like a cross section of humanity. I really like it. You've Got ETH was a project that I built at the Dapathon out in LA, which was just a blockchain hackathon, and me and a few other Team Colorado won the LA blockchain hackathon, so representing Colorado. But the whole point of this slide is that I tried a whole bunch of shit before I started GitCoin, and I failed at every single one of them, but I learned something when I worked on them. So GitCoin basically leverages cryptocurrency to solve a problem that I have, and I assume that anyone else who is a programmer who's interested in open source might have, and that's that open source software developers create a lot of economic value, tens of billions of dollars a year in economic value to be exact, and that $10 billion companies actually, but they're not properly incentivized. And it's all guys or girls that look like me who are working on things nights and weekends, putting things up in GitHub because we believe in the mission or we want to increase our skill set in a certain area. And so there's this problem between the strategic value, that the strategic value of software is way higher than the actual value that people will pay for it. And I think a lot of people are trying to solve this problem in different ways, and I wish them all the most success in the world, because I think that people have, it's just, like I said, billions of dollars a year in economic value created, but the expected value of open source software, because the source code is free, is nothing. And in between that amount, software developers can make between $30 and $200 per hour, depending on who they're working for and how much demand there is for their skill set. So the idea is to create a market where we can create a rational economic transfer for that open source software. So that's pretty much what GitCoin is just a marketplace where open source repo maintainers can put out ideas that they want to have built, and then talented individuals from across the world can work for those maintainers in a loose way that requires low commitment and is paid out in cryptocurrency. So the cryptocurrency that I'm very long on is called Ethereum. It's the #2 cryptocurrency right now, but it has 10x the developers of any other cryptocurrency platform out there. And Ether is the native token of the Ethereum blockchain. And then there's this trend called tokenization that is built on top of the Ether blockchain. So basically, you could take any business that you have and you could tokenize the shares in that business and denominate them as what's called Ethereum-based tokens. So GitCoin supports not only Ether, but it supports Ether-based tokens, which is a good 60% of all of the tokens that are out there in the blockchain space. And so I launched it. I was like up at 3 a.m. every morning, working furiously at this on this idea, and I had a day job, and then working on it every night. And was super lucky to get it launched and to leverage my network and technology to get it to the front page of the Ethereum subreddit and to get it to the top of Product Hunt. And I basically arranged this launch to coincide with a pitch to Joe Lubin out in New York, and he's the co-founder of Ethereum and the co-founder of the largest blockchain venture studio in the world called Consensus. And now I work on GitCoin full time and have a team of 9 that's supporting it. So very, very blessed to work on things that align with my values and to be embarking on this new journey that's been backed by Consensus. I will say that Consensus is starting to hear more and more good things about the Colorado blockchain scene. And I think that that's owed a lot to the work that organizers in this area are doing. We ran, like I said, I'm an organizer for Boulder BlockChain meetup. We just had the world's largest Ethereum hackathon in Denver in February. It was called ETH Denver, totally free for hackers. And I think that we're really putting Colorado on the map. So it's very exciting for a project like Consensus, which is 1,000 blockchain developers, to be putting down roots here. So that's sort of like where we've been. I want to talk a little bit about where the project is now, and then we'll talk about where we're going, and then we'll break into discussion, I suppose. So I think that at this point, I would do the most justice to the project if I did a demo. How's the AV over here? Is that all right?
It's okay.
Cool. All right, so who knows what this website is? GitHub. Yeah, so if you're a software developer, you probably do a lot of work on GitHub. GitCoin is built on top of GitHub. We think that they're doing a really great job of being the collaboration layer for open source software, and we're not reinventing the wheel. We're just trying to build an incentivization layer on top of GitHub. So basically, what I'm going to show for y'all right now is the use case of having a Web3 enabled browser and funding a GitHub issue using GitCoin, which is my project. My web browser is just Google Chrome, but it's enhanced with a browser extension called MetaMask, which is a in-browser Ethereum wallet. All it does is puts this little fox up here in the top right of my browser, and it gives me access to Ethereum-based applications through this browser extension. Just to show you a little bit around the extension, there's different Ethereum networks that you can use. There's the main Ethereum network where you can exchange 1 Ether for $450 right now. And then there's a bunch of test networks. I happen to be on the Rinkeby test network just because I'm just doing a demo bounty for y'all tonight. So MetaMask makes your browser Web3 enabled, and